All right, we are live and all set to go.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jim. So we'll start with the formalities. So I'm Norm Corbin. I'm the chair of the Northborough Historic District Commission. This open meeting of the Northborough Historic District Commission is being conducted pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public hearings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Historic District Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. This order allows the members of the commission to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is offered so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on the YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. All right, so get that done. So I don't think we've ever met on a Tuesday, so that's a different, on the last day of the month. We've been juggling around trying to get a schedule going here. It's a little bit tricky with getting the technical support. We're lucky to have Jim with us tonight. So is everybody taking a look at the agenda? Right, so we can get the meeting rolling. The first step on the agenda is the prior meeting minutes. Thank you, Brian, for writing the prior meeting minutes for us. Everybody had a chance to look at them. I'm going to pull them up now. So if everybody's read them, do I have a motion? Or if somebody wants to read them, I can put it on the screen if you haven't seen it yet. We have a couple of options. So let me know if you want more time. And how about?
I just had one clarification.
Sure.
Talking about the National Register for the Howard Street Cemetery.
Yes.
Lisa is expected to have a draft in hand by May.
Correct.
From my notes, the draft was going to the Massachusetts Historical Commission.
Not yet. It has to go through us first.
Oh, okay. All right. So the draft is going to go to us first. Okay.
Right. It's going. In fact, yeah, it goes through us, and then we look at it, see if there's anything that we find in error or we should adjust, and then she incorporates that and sends that to the Historic Commission.
Okay.
So, all right. So unless there are any other comments, we can have someone make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Can I move to accept the minutes? I think I'm a voting member now, right?
You are a voting member, Bob. It's official.
Okay, so I want to get in there first.
All right. Anybody second?
Second.
I just need to mention the meeting date, I think, first, though.
Oh, Bob just mentioned the meeting minutes date.
Oh, yes, it's the March 28th, 2022 meeting.
Second.
All right. And we'll do the roll call vote. So let me get this right. Mr. DeShano. Are you there?
He's on mute.
Leslie. Oh, Mike, we're voting on the meeting
Sorry.
minutes.
Yep, I got it all. I was just unmuted. Sorry.
All right,
Approved.
we're doing the roll call vote.
Yeah.
Starting with you. Okay,
Approved.
thank you, Mike. Leslie,
Yay.
Mr. Smith,
Yay.
Mr. Swanson.
Approved.
Okay, Millie's not here yet, and I know Bruce is not, actually Bruce is the non-voting member. Bob Light is the other voting member. So Bob,
Yay.
all right. So we did pass the meeting minutes. Got it. The next item on the agenda is the historic preservation plan. The plan has been reviewed and I get comments from 3 members of the Historical Society. I've incorporated most of their edits and I'm losing my voice. Excellent. We're actually fortunate. For those who know Kathy Pierce used to work for the Telegram and Gazette as a writer. So she really did a thorough job looking through our document. It's really appreciated. So there's, I now know the differences between hyphens and dashes, colons and semicolons, and that kind of editing, which is very beneficial for us. So where it stands now is I've started to incorporate the comments we got from the Mass Historical Commission. They were mainly about how we wrote the history section of the town. So I have to incorporate some of the comments for that. June 7th, which is next, is it like Tuesday? June 7th is next Tuesday, June 7th. We'll be invited to the planning board meeting so they can give us their feedback on the full document. They did see just chapter 7, the preservation plan section, maybe 2 months, 3 months ago, but they had never seen the full document. So on June 7th, we're invited to listen to their comments. And also I'm expecting at that time, the town planner, the new town planner, Laurie Connors, to also give us some input. She hadn't seen any of the document before. We didn't give it to Kathy at the time because she was retiring, no sense adding all that work for her. So I think we're still looking at a July 1st timeframe to get this completed. So that's where that stands. National Register nomination for the Howard Street Cemetery. So Lisa, who's writing the nomination documentation, sent late last week, forwarded a draft of the document to myself and to Scott Charpentier, the DPW director. So I started going through it. It's really, really thorough. It's a good piece of work with lots of images describing all the different styles of headstones, listing all the famous people. It's she's put a lot of things in there I've never seen before. So myself and Scott need to tweak it a little bit because there's a couple places where she had questions and get back to her. I'm expecting that within a month to 6 weeks that it will be sent to the Mass Historic Commission for their input. So that's where that stands. Any questions about that?
Nope.
When it's completed, it'll be an interesting read. We just got to tweak it a little bit more before we get it all to everybody to take a look at it. So Brian Swanson wrote a bunch of letters recommending welcome letters to people who've purchased antiques over the past year, actually in 2021. So he drafted up some letters for me and I just got them in the mail. So those have all been, I think there was 6 or 7 of them, if I remember, Brian.
7, I think.
7 altogether. So this is just a kind of a thank you letter for people buying antiques and not tearing them down. Just to make them realize we appreciate that behavior. It's not always the case, as we know. Then I had the CPA funding voting results. Do you mind, Leslie, since you're our rep, could you go, do you have on hand what the CPA results were?
I don't.
Well, we're only, you know, our interest is our input, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have it handy. Didn't realize you were gonna want me to speak to it. So I mean, I know we got everything approved, but I don't remember the amounts. Was it?
Well, it is what it is. So we get the approval for the signs for the cemetery. And we
Right,
get
for the-
approval for the Brigham Street improvements, the beautification. of-
Right. I thought you wanted the amounts. Yeah, so we basically got
The amounts, I
everything.
don't, they were what they
Yeah.
were, they didn't change.
Right.
The other things that caught my eye was the aqueduct was also approved, the initial project to evaluate the aqueduct. I think in due time, we're going to be involved in that since it's on the National Register, it's a historic landmark. And I've made that point several times just to let them know that we're here to help because they need some help. So now that we have the signs and we have the funding for the sign that starts, the funding's available July the 1st, and the funding for the Brigham Street beautification. I'm willing to work with Scott, the DPW director, regarding the beautification, just to keep contact with him, because I'm sure there'll be some questions about the fencing. Taking the trees down is straightforward, but I think the fencing, we just need to have an avenue to communicate with Scott how that works. But I'd like someone to volunteer to take the burden for the new cemetery signs. We've done them before. It's pretty straightforward.
I mean, it's identical. It's the same ones as before.
Well, we have to make sure it's going to have a different date and it might be worded differently too, because more and more they're calling that the Kaiser Cemetery. So I think that's something we need to get a draft out and then get it in front of Scott, who has to get it in front of the Cemetery Commission. So
They actually do refer to it as the Kaiser Cemetery. I thought it was the Kaiser section.
The town more and more is using that. In fact, on their website now, on the maps, it's called Kaiser. It's a discussion that has to happen to make sure the signage is appropriate. So I'd like someone to carry that ball. So they have to work with Expose to get a draft of the design and that kind of thing. So let me know who's going to be involved. Because shit a load is a good thing. And I'll work on I'll keep the coordination on Brigham Street.
Norm, I'm assuming because I'm an alternate, I can't help with that, right?
I'm sorry?
Because I'm an alternate, I can't really help with that, right?
No, alternates can do everything but vote.
Nice, I can do the work.
You can do everything but vote. And you can even get credit for doing everything. You just can't vote.
Well, I'm happy to work with you. Like if you, I will need help. I have no idea what to do, but I will definitely help do it if you guide me.
All right. Since we've done this before, I have drawings from before and context from before. I'll send everything over to you, Lorna, and that will be great. And also get your feet dirty a little bit. I like that.
There you go.
Yeah,
All
thanks,
right.
Lorna.
Thank
That's
you,
great.
Lorna. All right, new business, historic preservation plan. And now that essentially it's done, I mean, we're tweaking a few things here more with grammar and punctuation. We need to start looking at it and figuring out what we're going to do with it. What projects do we need to work on short term? Which ones do we need to think about long term? There's a couple of good ones in there. Certainly the work looking at all of the diggings that the town of Northborough has for the non-architect. I always use the word architecture, but that's not the right word. Help me out there, Mike. Mr.
Theological.
Archaeological.
Thank you. I don't know why that's a hard word for me. So there's, we've got some good finds of things we should be thinking about in the future. We have a good list. I'm not going to do that tonight, but start thinking about what we should be working at for the next CPA projects or other projects that are coming down the road. I think we should be using that as our roadmap. Looking at it, what should we do now? What should we do later, kind of thing. Some of them are small ticket items like the signs, and some of them could be big ticket items like the any projects we have that could be big bucks. So I think more and more we'll be using that as a guide. All right, help me out on this, Leslie. What's the new deadline for a CPA funding request?
We don't know yet. We've talked about, we actually have a meeting on Monday, an emergency meeting because of the White Cliffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll discuss it then, but we were talking about pushing it up to, so it would be no earlier than August, but I think it'll be in the August, September timeframe, but it's to TBD.
Okay, so you see the challenge we have with these dates now, because we were able to get them into November. We used to take August off, which means we have July. If they give us a deadline that's in September, it's a tight timetable. So if we are considering CPA funding for the next year, it's a year from now, we kind of have to get our ducks in a row for our next meeting, which I'm proposing we have our meeting in June. But I think in June, we need to know exactly which ones we want to submit for. So that's another thing that comes back to, what projects are we going to work on for the next few years, which ones we get priorities, which ones do we get funding for. All right. So let us know, Leslie, when that date is clear.
Yep.
All right.
Well, that depends on how the elections go tonight.
Elections go tonight.
Are we doing are we doing the assignments tonight?
Yeah, that's the next, that is the next, well, no matter what, you're a CPA person, so, right?
I hope to continue to be, but that's
Yeah.
up to everybody to decide tonight, I guess.
Oh, I wasn't even considering any of those positions tonight. That's a good idea. I thought of the basic ones. So let me start off with secretary. So Bruce has decided, Bruce Shute has decided to go to an alternate position because he's having a hard time making the meetings. So Brian Swanson has accepted he would like to continue as our secretary. So if I could nominate Brian as our secretary and get a second, that would be good.
Second,
So Brian Smith seconded. And Brian Swanson, are you willing to take on these responsibilities?
Sure.
All right, good man. So we have to do the roll call vote. So I'll start with Mr. DeShano.
Yes, I agree.
All right, thanks, Mike. Leslie,
Absolutely.
Brian Smith,
I agree.
Bob Light,
Yes.
and I myself is a yes. So thank you, Mr. Swanson. Appreciate that. Now, the next up is for vice chair. Leslie's been vice chair for a few years now. Is there anybody interested in taking vice chair? I know Leslie is still interested. We need to see if somebody else is interested. All right. So with that silence, I will nominate Leslie Harrison as vice chair.
Once again, it's stiff competition.
When you do a good job, nobody wants to take it away from you. So you're good to go with that, Leslie?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll do I need someone to nominate Leslie.
I'll nominate Leslie.
Thank you, Mike. And second?
Second,
All right, that goes to, we'll give it to Mr. Light. So we'll do the roll call vote. Mr. DeShano,
Yes,
Mr. Smith,
yes.
Mr. Swanson,
Yes.
Mr. Light.
Yes.
I vote yes. And Leslie?
Sure.
Thank you, Leslie. So Leslie is our vice chair. Next up is chair.
I nominate Norm.
Second.
Thank you for your confidence. Just a heads up, remember, especially you newbies, in the past, this was a rotating position, not a permanent position. So always keep that in mind. So
Norm, are you willing to continue?
I am willing to continue.
Thank
Next year, it might be a little bit different, but
Thank you for your service.
definitely for this year. So Leslie nominated me, Mr. Light seconded, so we got to do through the vote. Mr. DeShano,
Yes. Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
yes,
Mr. Swanson,
yes,
Mr. Light,
Yes,
and I vote yes. So very good. Thank you, guys. And Leslie, you made a good point. We do have members on other committees, and I didn't think about that. So the committees we have are the CPC committee, the White Cliffs committee, and Master Plan Improvement Committee. I guess I didn't realize that we should be considering those positions also tonight. Millie's not here, so I really don't want to do anything with the Master Plan Implementation Committee without Millie, because she's our current rep. But we do have a member on the CPC committee. We have Leslie. Is there someone else who would like to be interested in the CPC position? Okay,
What did they do? What does that entail?
Leslie, you've been active for a while. Why don't you explain the position?
So are you familiar with the CPA, Lorna? Community Preservation Act? Okay, so CPC is the Community Preservation Committee, which is a committee that meets and reviews all of the proposals, vets the proposals and votes on the proposals, and then they get presented at town meeting for approval by the town. So we meet probably a half a dozen times a year. And that's like an emergency meeting, but for the most part, we take at least the summer off because we have town meeting in April. Usually that's the last meeting for a while. We do have an emergency one because of the White Cliffs Committee. They have a proposal for using funds for the chimney. So we're meeting on Monday, but typically it goes through town, the meeting just before town meeting. And then we pick up and we start to review applications in the fall. And we are talking about bringing that a little earlier this coming year to give us more time to review them. So usually it's from fall until town meeting, and then once a month, usually the fourth Thursday of the month, I believe, or first Thursday of the month. Yeah, it's first Thursday of the month. John Campbell's the chair, and there are 7, I forget how many, but there are a couple of at-large members, and then representatives from planning board, from select board, from historic, from open space, and
Rick, I think, is also one.
yeah, right.
So do you need 2 positions or 1 position for that, Norm?
Just the
one.
one.
Just one.
Okay, then Leslie, I can't nominate you, but I just wanted to see, is there more than 1? But if there's 1, I don't need to be on that committee. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, there's only one. I mean, I'm happy. I love to do it. So my preference is to stay, but I certainly don't want to hog the position. So if anybody wants it, again, I raise my fists. And no, I'm happy to give it up, but I'm even happier to continue. So
I'm going to dip my toe slowly in what I already committed.
Good move, Lorna. But as Leslie mentioned, I think 3 of the positions are at-large positions that are put in from the Board of Selectmen, I think. So once in a while, that'll pop open. That can be from anybody from the community. And the other thing with CPC, when you have experience like Leslie has on it, there's a lot of quirks, understanding what's allowed and the like. So having someone experienced right now, at least for us, for historical, is pretty good. It's very good because we get some things coming up. So
Sounds big. So I think that for me, I'll just watch some of the meetings and kind of check it out.
all right. So I'll make the nomination for Leslie Harrison to be our representative on the Community Preservation Commission for the next year.
I
second that.
We'll give Mr. Swanson the second. That.
just for the notes, it's actually committee. It is committee, not commission.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, roll call time. Mr. DeShano,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
yes,
Mr. Swanson,
Yes,
and Mr. Light.
yes,
And I also vote yes. Thank you very much, Leslie. You're a real asset for us. I appreciate that. Using the same logic, there's the White Cliffs Committee. I'm currently on the White Cliffs Committee as the representative from the Historic District Commission. So, is there someone else who would like to participate in that committee? It's back up and running. It's been almost a year and a half of it has not been active.
Would you like to continue, Norm?
I would like to continue.
I'm
Yay.
also on that committee,
Of course, Tom, I thought.
but I'm not a
Thank you.
representative of this board. I'm kind of at large.
That's right, Tom's on it. And Julian's not with us tonight, but she's also on it. All right, so we'll have to do the nomination and the second thing.
I nominate Norm to be our representative to the White Cliffs Committee.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Smith got it in, second. All right, thanks. So one more set of voting. Mr. DeShano,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes,
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Swanson,
Yes.
Mr. Light,
Yes,
and I vote yes. Thank you for your confidence, people. All right. So we'll talk to Millie next time we see Millie. We'll see if she'd like to continue on the master plan improvement committee. All right.
Norm, what was
So-
that? What was the third committee that you mentioned?
It's the Master Plan Improvement Committee. You familiar with that one? The town did wrapped up a master plan in 2020, and they were the consensus was rather than put the master plan on the shelf and forget about it, there is a committee that's, responsible is not the right word, but there's a committee that is overseeing the master plan to make sure these things get implemented that are in the master plan.
it's master plan implementation, not improvement.
Thank you. Implementation. Perfect. It's a big committee. I think there's like 12 or 13 people on it for representing different parts of the town government and parts of the town committees. All right. So we'll deal with that. Millie is back. I sent out some information about the upcoming Mass Historic Alliance Conference, which is next week, the 6th and the 7th. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. I just signed up for the virtual version of the conference. It's a $50 virtual for both days. The beauty is I can look at I have access to the different sessions at any time. I don't have to sit in front of it. But if anybody else is interested, they had some good topics. The due date is tomorrow. So if you did have interest, it's best to sign up tonight or first thing in the morning. So the only thing I want to let you know is that that's available.
What was the title of that again, Norm?
The title of that, let me get the wording right. It's, let's put it up so I would have it. It's the Massachusetts History Alliance annual meeting, historical conference, something like that. It's in the first day is in Beverly, and it's a lot of tours are involved. And the second day is all virtual, which is more like a conference with different sessions on different topics. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up from that one. I've been several of us went a couple of years ago to a couple of these other conferences. They're better in person because they have booths. You can talk. There's a lot more interaction with people than you can video. But Beverly wasn't making it. There wasn't anything in Beverly that made it worth my while. Get up there. I have a couple of other topics. One is our budget. Every year we get a $500 budget for our committee, and it runs from July 1st till June 31st. So the current balance is $250. And I have a couple expenses against that I want to go with you tonight. So for the Historical Society, to have them review our preservation plan, I printed out 5 copies. So they had just 5 people could take a look at it. Like I said, I got input from 3. So getting it copied at Staples was $106.52. I need essentially permission to charge that money to our budget. So I can get, I'd like to make a motion that the $106.52 is a legitimate charge for our expenses.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Leslie. So we'll go around through the voting routes again, a lot of voting today. So I vote Mike DeShano,
Yes, approved.
Leslie,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
yes,
Mr. Swanson,
Yes,
Mr. Light,
Yes,
and myself. So that's good. Should get that one. And I just signed up, as I'd mentioned, for the conference. It's a $50 fee. And if possible, I'd like to be reimbursed for that fee. So I'd like to make a motion that the town, that our committee will reimburse me the conference fee. Keep in mind that, you know, for the future, that these are all legitimate costs for our committee. So,
I
So
second that.
moved.
okay, Mr. Swanson second that. So,
Well, you have, so, yeah, so moved. So
moved.
I made, you can't, yeah.
all right. So, Mr. DeShano,
Yes,
Leslie,
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yep, yep.
Brian Swanson,
Yes,
Bob Light,
yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you for that. So I'll submit the cost of the conference. And if anybody else wants to attend the conference, there's still money available in this year's funding. Don't let the dollar value hinder you.
And we rolled them, but we can roll the money over unused funds to the next year, correct? Or
Not that I
use it
know
or
of.
lose it?
Not that it's use or lose.
Use or lose it, okay.
Yeah, choose or lose. And we've been getting 500 since I've been involved, so it's like 15 years, and we generally use most of it, but almost never all.
Is
of
there anything small that we need that we should consider spending it on? Anything you can think of for anything?
It's fine.
More copies?
We're gonna have to make some hard copies in color, and I get an estimated price. It's well over $500. So I'm gonna see if the town can do it, or if the planning department has access to another account, something like that. But that's gonna be a big ticket item next year.
No.
All right, so if someone does come up with an idea, do it soon, because the accounting department does not like to be pushing things through before close the books. All right, there were a couple other things. Did anybody have anything else they want to pop up, talk about? Okay, obviously I'm dominating tonight.
Norm, did you want to bring up the most endangered resource program seminar we went to?
You know, I didn't put it on my list. How about if you bring it up?
Well,
you mind?
I thought it was very interesting. I just was wondering if there was anything that you thought that we would want to nominate. It does seem like a lot of work to get the nomination, and there's no funding involved, right?
Correct. So this is run through, it's not the Mass Historical Commission. This is run through,
Preservation Massachusetts?
thank you. This is Preservation Massachusetts. They do it every other year. We will be nominating White Cliffs as a MER. What's the MER stand for again?
Most endangered
Thank
resource.
you. We had our White Cliffs committee.
Actually, the full name is Most Endangered Historic Resource Program,
All right,
but it's MER for short.
MER for short. So Bob attended it, I attended it. It was all virtual, and Laurie Connor is the new planning.
So you're saying that White Cliffs will be nominated?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, we did have a White Cliffs meetings. I wanted to hit a few topics on that. Actually, there's a couple other things I wanted to hit on. So the most endangered resource, you apply for this, and what really comes out of it is they will help essentially market the fact that you have this endangered property in the state of Massachusetts. And they use their contacts to kind of spread that word to shake some trees. So, which is what we're trying to do right now with White Cliff, so it's a natural fit. It is a very cumbersome application, but the fact of the matter is all of the information we need is in that DBDW report. So we just have to cut and paste it out for the most part. So it's pretty straightforward for us. We're fortunate. It's just another way of getting the word out. The fact of the matter is if you go 5 miles outside of Northborough, nobody knows about White Cliffs, nobody's heard about White Cliffs, nobody cares about White Cliffs. And we've got to get it so that this building is getting some kind of much broader recognition, not just around the state. So that's something that, thank you, Bob, for bringing that up. I did not have it on my list today.
Do we have any connections with TNG or even with the Globe?
Yeah, we can always send them. We're trying to get a strategy together right now. So that's part of the strategy, TNG and Globe. Fact of the matter is we need to do those and we need to do a lot more. And that's comes down to, while we're on this topic, I'll talk about our White Cliffs committee meeting last week so that we're all on the same page on White Cliffs. All right. So I'll take a step back and talk about White Cliffs. The meeting we had last week had to do with finding money to fix some things. And as some of you should realize, that we lost part of the chimney in one of the bad storms about 2 months ago. So we needed funding, and we found some funding. This is what Leslie alluded to earlier. We're looking for some of the administration funds from the CPC committee to use to fund disassembly and storage of the damaged parts of the top of the chimney. The top of the chimney has like a terracotta feature at the top. So it's a matter of taking it down, storing it, removing the bricks, storing it, and sealing it so that we don't have water entering into the church, so into the building.
So why do that instead of repairing it? Is it because there might be other changes to the building where it might
Because
actually be
it's
removed,
dollars.
or?
It's all about dollars right now, and dollars we don't have. So disassembling it, storing that, it's probably the top 25% of the chimney. I don't have the number right now in front of me, but we'd be looking close to $200,000 to fix the chimney, and we don't even need near that. I think we're looking at $50,000 to disassemble it and store it. So it's all about the lack of funds right now for any of this. It's crunch time. So that was one topic. The other topic is we're looking for funding to improve the dehumidification of the mansion itself. So the mansion itself, there is more moisture in there than we want. They're going to do an air quality test to make sure we understand what the air quality is. And then they have to install electrical work and buy some dehumidifiers for, I think, all 3 floors to get the humidity out of the building. There's some concern over too much humidity and possible mold growth. So, and we found some money for that because there was a little bit of money left over from, there's still some money in the funds that we left from the White Cliffs budget.
If it's okay to talk about it now, is it, I mean, how is, like, I'm confused about how it can be $200,000 to repair a chimney. Is it because of the size? Is it because of the type?
This is not, these are numbers, we had a estimate for $110,000 to rebuild it back 2 years ago. Now that the $150,000 plus it's, I'm going to be frank here. We have a lot of things to do with that building. Repairing that chimney is not a priority. Keeping the water out and making sure the building doesn't get damaged by more moisture content is a huge priority. And there are
Yeah, no, I'm not questioning doing the dismantling and buttoning it up. I'm just questioning why it costs so much to do a chimney. I'm just trying to understand. Not saying we're doing it now. I'm just trying to understand why it is so expensive. Is it because of the size of the chimney? Maybe it's not appropriate to talk about it now. If not, just say so.
There's
The
nobody
size
in
of
this,
the chimney.
there's nobody in this room that really can itemize what the price of that is going to be,
Norm?
except maybe Mr. Reardon. Sorry, Tom.
Well, some of the reason is that most of the detail are custom shapes and they're not off the shelf components. And to if you can't recycle the parts that are there, which are 130 years old, you'd have to go and order custom components.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay, thank you.
it's way beyond anything you see today being built. We just don't have the skilled craftsmen. And when's the last time you saw anybody build a real chimney these days? It's just, everything is gas fired, stuck on the side of a building. It's very little masonry going on.
Oh, wow, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I neglected to realize that you were very involved with this kind of thing. And the last part on the White Cliffs Committee, I mean, the real driver here is we got to get the word out about this building. We need to get a request for proposals out on who we can work with and what we can do to move this project forward. So we needed funding for that, and we do have enough funding left in the White Cliffs budget to get that ball rolling. And so now we have a couple of possible groups we need to interview and see what they would bring to bear to help us out with this project. We've got to get the word out on this building. We've got to get the word out broadly.
Yep.
And that's key. So that's in a nutshell what happened at the White Cliffs Committee meeting last week. There's two other things that came up. It's all financial. More than likely next year, CPA funding will be requested for further support of the building. We don't know what that dollar value is. I don't know what that project's going to be, but the fact of the matter is we have monthly payments that we have to make every month on insurance and storage and a few other things. And that money will be drying up very soon. So we have to, at minimum, have money in the bank, not in the bank, in our budget for White Cliffs that continues to pay those monthly bills. So anyway, that's the heads up where that is. So just as a CP, so you have a CPC committee meeting next week, but you'll be seeing something for next year. And I have no idea what the value will be. It depends on what we think has to happen for the next 2 years. But the main thing is White Cliffs is up and running again. It's been dormant for over a year.
That's great.
Did anything else I forget there, Mr. Reardon?
Well, there was the proposal to hire consultants to do an outreach, put together an RFP to find developers. That was the third piece we talked about.
Right. We need help with that for sure.
I saw the discussion on the Facebook page about maybe a brewery or something like that. That was interesting, or the restoration. It wasn't this old house, but it was another type of program like this old house.
Yeah, there's been a couple of interesting hits on Facebook. I keep an eye on it. There's a lot of griping, but in addition to that, there's actually some people who are thinking about solutions. If you look at the DBVW report about things that could happen up there, there is a line item in it that says brewery. So it's not excluded from the discussion. But someone knew someone, it's a brewery out in the Oregon in Michigan area. So I contacted them. And what they do, they convert old properties, historic properties, to breweries and hotels.
Mhm.
But they don't do
Nice.
anything in New England. So who are your friends? You know, what communications do you have with people that are like-minded? There are a lot of people out there that are like-minded. We just need to find them. And as Tom says, we need to shake trees and have people help us. I'm not sure if brewery is the answer, but the answer is, making good reuse of that beautiful mansion.
It'd make a good speakeasy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. It's, but someone's gonna pull up some pretty good, big paychecks, big checks to make this happen. There's a lot of good ideas, but it's without the checks, it's gonna be a problem. Okay, so the Master Plan Implementation Committee, I'll speak for Millie. I've been following it a little bit, just checking in on them, because right now their immediate focus is on Main Street in downtown, how to get it fixed, what the future should look like along those lines. So they're putting out an RFP, and didn't they get CPA funding for that? or was it some other funding they got? But the town meeting, the funding was voted for them to have monies so they could get an RFP out there to have a professional come through and work with them in terms of what the best opportunities might be for that downtown. We should be interested in downtown because I did forward them some information. I forward the chair of the committee. The fact that there's over 120 historic buildings in what they consider to be the downtown of Northborough. So at some point when they start shaking trees, I think they need to recognize or at least communicate with us, how does that affect all of these antiques that are all through the downtown district? It's not just Main Street, it's Summer Street, it's Lake Street, it's coming up through parts of Whitney Street, but it's quite a bit of houses. I just want them to realize, part of downtown is pretty historic. What are your plans? What do you
Did you say
think?
Sorry, did you say 120?
120 plus.
Okay.
I was shocked when I went on, if you go on the Macris website, you can pull up a map, and I just counted them up. And it's like, wow, I forgot all these properties were all inventory. So in that case, we're just kind of making them aware of some of the historic nature of that area. Leslie, did you want to say anything about our meeting with the Shrewsbury Historic District Commission? It was last week, wasn't it? They invited us to visit with them.
Yeah, it was interesting. They were just interested in our work on the cemeteries for the restoration of the gravestone. So Norm took the lead and just explained what we've done and followed up with some documents after the fact, and they were very interested. And they have their cemetery is already on the historic register, so that was interesting. From a long time, was it the 70s? Did they say?
Yeah, early 70s.
Yeah,
they put
long
their
time
cemetery
ago.
in the historic register. So, the main thing I got out of the meeting with them is something that Bruce Shute had brought up. Maybe it was before COVID, trying to start communications with our local adjacent towns that have historic commissions and historic district commissions. The fact of the matter, we're all doing the same thing, and we can help them out with the cleaning of the stones and resetting the stones, and I think they could help us out in other areas.
Yeah, even just brainstorming ideas, things that
Exactly.
they do that we wouldn't think of, or vice versa.
I had a question for you, Mr. Reardon,
Yes, sir.
regarding 87 Hudson Street, that little brick house. You have some nice designs for a duplex, it looks like. I'm trying to, I don't know who's working so much on that development, but can you encourage them to get the demolition request in as soon as possible? So we can get this
I
ball
thought
rolling.
they had completed the application, but I'll check tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't got word, and usually I get word within 24 hours of an application for the demolition, because we have a procedure we have to work through. So I think it's to everybody's advantage the sooner that document gets in, because if it were to be delayed 6 months now, it's 6 months from now, as opposed to 6 months from 3 months ago. So I don't know where you guys are in the process, but yeah, could you find out, push that along a little bit?
Yep.
And I'm gonna pick up a nice picture that's in our preservation plan. Thank you, Bob, for this beautiful picture. Oh, I'm not sharing, am I? Let me see if I can do this with a share. Here we go. Does everybody see that picture of the Sterrebrook Farm?
Yeah,
Yep.
Bob Light's wife, Susan, just, it's the new picture that's in our preservation plan. I just got noticed the town wants to tear it down because it's falling down, and the town owns it. It's a piece of property that the town owns. So this is just a heads up. We should be seeing a demolition request for that. They only see the demolition request if that building is over 100 years old. And I've asked the town, and I can't find a date on it if it's over 100 years old. So anything that's blocked, if it was built before 1922, will get involved. But just a heads up that they're considering taking that building down.
Is there anything that's salvageable from it?
I have no idea. I've never been in it or near it.
It looks in bad shape.
It's kind of You can't really see it so well from the road anymore. But,
You know, there's a structure out back also.
there's
on the
an old
lower
garage
right.
in the picture. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a garage or something. That's in worse shape.
so I don't know what the town ever, I mean, the town bought the land back years ago for maybe wastewater treatment, I think, or sewage somehow. I don't know. I don't know why they included the barn in that purchase. That's kind of funny. Just a heads up on that. Haven't seen anything yet. That's last week's news. There's only one other thing that caught my eye last week. You remember about 3 years ago, we asked the Department of Transportation to build us some nice historic Route 20 markers. Ringing a bell? They're kind of a brown and beige marker, and they installed 2 of them for us. And I can only ever find one. It's right by the Mary Goodnow marker on Route 20, and it's going right into Marlboro. And I remember I communicated with them. I said, I don't get it. How come they're putting the sign up going into Marlboro when you want the sign to say it's into Northbrook? Last week, I happened to be driving from Sudbury on Route 20 into Marlboro. It's a beautiful sign. I think they put the signs up entering and exiting Marlboro, not entering and exiting Northbrook. So,
Wait, they put up one,
huh?
which they put one up for Marlboro, or they put one up for us coming into?
I think that both signs are facing, so as you enter into the town, into the city of Marlboro.
Huh.
And it was, I asked them to change it, and I didn't get a very good response. I think I'm gonna think this through and maybe just ask them to make us 2 more signs. Because we don't have them. I think Marlboro has them.
Wait, so how far apart are they're 2 ending Marlboro? Are they like, how far apart from one another are they?
Well, the one on Route 20, when you go from Northborough to Marlboro, there's an installation on, I think it's on the Northborough land, but you're seeing the sign as you're entering Marlboro. The other sign is in Sudbury as you're entering Marlboro.
Oh, okay, on the other
Got
end. Got it. Yeah.
So I'm quite certain those 2 signs were supposed to be for us, not for Marlboro. So at some point, if I can follow up with that one, I think the easiest thing is just to ask them to make 2 more signs for us.
Where is the second Northborough sign supposed to go?
Well, the first one's not installed properly because it should be on the Marlboro. It should be coming into the sign. The other one should be out on Route 20, somewhere near Avalon.
Near the Y, right?
Yeah, exactly near the Y, Avalon, out that way. And there's none there.
On the other side of Route 9? South of Route 9?
Yeah, it's just right. The border is just south of Route 9.
Right at the
Okay.
line.
Where's
Anyway,
that sound
that
coming
was-
from?
That's my computer. I don't know if it's getting a headache or what, but it's
Oh,
at this once in a while.
sounds like a choo-choo train.
Hmm. All right. Can anybody think of a reason to continue?
So back to the Route 20 signs. We made donations for those, right? Didn't we make a donation to the?
Oh, the signs were made by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. They made them, and as opposed to us buying them from the organization that sells them. So we did make a donation for the signs. I feel we're fine with the organization that runs the historic Route 20.
That actually is a good, an interesting point about the leftover money. Is there any organization we want to donate the balance of the $500 to?
Oh. Well, I don't think we can donate, but we can do memberships. I think there's a gray area there.
Just a thought. I hate to just see money
Yeah,
not get used if we can put it to good use. I don't want to waste it, but if it's.
last year we did quite a few memberships. I have to see which ones we did. we'll get a tight timetable now because we have to make a decision in a couple of weeks.
Norm, you could buy some more books. Last year you bought History of Northborough. I just bought Peter Whitney's History of Worcester County. So there are historic reproductions that are available if you're interested.
There's a thought. Yeah, and I purchased Joseph Allen document off of Google. So they're all reprints. Well, they're reprints, but they're some kind of legal. That's an idea, Tom.
How much money do we have left from the 500?
Well, it was it went to 250, and tonight we spent another 160. So 250.
So not $90 left.
Yeah. How much, Tom? How much did you pay for the Whitney book? Do you remember?
It's like 25. There's also a companion volume that is a commentary about it. I think that was maybe like 13. Also, there's maps. You can see Worcester County, Northborough maps that are being sold online.
I wonder if we should even have the books in our files, even if it's just 1 or 2 copies of Alan's book. And because there's not, it's only a couple of pages in Whitney's book about Northborough, if I remember, maybe half a dozen pages, something like that. 'Cause it's really about the county. All right, how about we do this?
Yeah, he's a famous.
I think the book's right there, and we don't have them. We should probably have them in our file cabinet just to have these things in our handy. So, if you don't mind, Tom, could you just check on the price for the Whitney book? And there's also a Joseph Allen one. I have it right here. Well, the covers are funny, but it's something he wrote that has a tremendous amount of detail of Northborough from Marlborough times all the way to like 1820. It's really an old. So if you can find the Reverend Allen and get a price on that.
And the map that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, and a map.
Maybe those together would come close to the 90 or.
So I think we can put together a, and I thought about, sometimes the best way to word this, because we don't know the prices yet, but it's essentially to give me authority to purchase up to $90 worth of
So I was gonna say, yeah.
historical books and historical maps of Northborough.
So moved.
All right, so let's do all the voting again. All right, so does that, and anybody want to discuss that, see if there's a better idea or?
No, I think that's legitimate. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with Mr. DeShano.
Yes.
Did anybody second that? Sorry, did anybody second that?
No, nobody second that.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Brian. All right. So I got DeShano got a yay. Leslie,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Swanson,
Yes.
Mr. Light,
Yes.
and myself. So I have to make a note. So, so Tom, just give me an idea of how we can spend the $90 and be beneficial to have in our files. That's good stuff. Thank you for bringing that up. And the last topic, Mike DeShano, could you tell us what
Yes.
your future plans are for the committee?
Well, I sent Norm an email and we had a chat. I am resigning my position with the Historic District Commission. I don't know if you know, but I broke my leg
Oh,
fairly
no.
significantly, and I'm in the process of trying to recover from that. So I'm essentially housebound. I also have commitments with the Northborough Historical Society that are taking quite a bit of my time, and I have family issues. We babysit with my daughter has twins, so we babysit quite a bit. So I'm just trying to lighten the load for me. I think the broken leg is kind of the thing that sort of broke the camel's back, no pun intended, but so I'm just trying to recover from that catastrophe. And, I'm going through therapy, and it's going to be a long process. So I'm kind of taking it one day at a time, but I'm just looking to lighten my load, basically. And I know there's a lot of good alternatives, people that are in alternatives that can step up and take over my place. So I am resigning. I don't know exactly how the process goes, but I certainly don't want to leave Norm or the commission in a lurch. But it seems like it's a pretty good time. It's the end of I thought it was the end of the year, so think it would be a good time for me to bow out.
So I've asked Mike if he'd stay one more meeting, so we through our June
Yeah.
meeting.
Sure.
Mike, first, those who don't know, Mike is currently the vice president of the Historical Society, and he's been really active with the society. And next year he becomes president of the Historical Society. So he's doing a lot of good work that's in conjunction with us, which I really appreciate for all kinds of reasons. And Mike's been very active with us. I mean, the archaeological information we got, it was tickled his fancy. He wrote a good section of our preservation plan on essentially the geology and the geography of the area. He's really appreciated his efforts. Just want to let you know, Mike, that if you ever find the time or the interest after your career as the chair, as the president, don't hesitate to call us and say, hey, I want to get back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
And
you, Mike.
along those lines, the next one up in order was Amanda. So Amanda was an alternate, and she'll be converted into a voting member. That'll probably happen in the summer sometime, Amanda. It takes
Okay, sounds good.
Mike, what you have to do is.
So do I need to do anything?
Yeah, you just need to send an email to Diane Wackel and say you'll be resigning as of July the 1st.
Okay.
Don't we all have to vote to approve it? Just kidding.
We've never done that before, but it's not going to go well.
Well, thanks, Mike, for everything you've done, and sorry about your leg.
Yep.
Yep, get well soon.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep,
Good luck.
thanks.
All righty, unless you have some other topics of interest, we can move this along. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, Leslie made the motion. Second,
Second,
Mr. Smith. So, Mr. DeShano.
Yes.
All right, Leslie,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
yes.
Mr. Swanson,
Yes.
Mr. Light,
Yes.
and I say yes. So it was great seeing you all, guys. We haven't set up a time for the next meeting. I'll have to get back to you because we're juggling if face to face, if it's video, and what days we have support. So it could be another Tuesday. All right.